All right, welcome in. It's really nice to meet you. To start off, I just wanted to introduce myself briefly. My name is Jade. I am a licensed professional counselor. During our time together today, we'll do a bit of an intake to get a clear picture of what you're experiencing. Down the road, we might use some specific assessment tools like the mood disorder questionnaire just to help us map out your symptoms. Before we dive into the deep stuff, though, I'd love to know what you're looking for in terms of meeting frequency.
Okay, it's nice to meet you too. I'm Catherine. I would love to start with weekly meetings if you have the availability to do that. Right now, I'm really feeling to start the process of healing and learning how my depression and anxiety.
I absolutely have space for weekly sessions, and I think that's a wonderful pace to start with. It's incredibly powerful that you feel ready and open to process right now. When you mention the process of healing, what does that look like for you?
So I've dealt with episodes of depression, even when I can't um, seem to notice anything particularly stressful going on. Sometimes I just can't get myself going. So
Mm-hmm.
during those times, I also tend to have some pretty intense negative self-talk and overwhelming feelings of worthlessness. So sometimes I kind of like spiral in this internal battle of hatred, self-pity. So that makes it really hard to get anything done. And I just thought that working with someone like you could help me learn to manage it a little better.
That sounds incredibly heavy, and it makes complete sense why you want some support navigating those spirals. The internal battle alone takes up so much energy. When you look back about how many of these depressive episodes would you say you've experienced?
Honestly, I'm not really sure how many because sometimes they're not as deep, they don't last as long. So I don't really know how to categorize them.
That's completely fair. It doesn't always fit into a neat little box. When they do hit, how long do they typically last?
Well, they could last anywhere from like a week to a whole month. So when
Okay.
I was in high school, I was like super involved in sports and clubs. I was like soccer, basketball, and in like choir and debate club. And I even was thinking about running for student council. But then in the second half of my sophomore year, um, I sort of had a crash. And that's when I started sort of noticing going through periods of like extreme sadness, even again when I didn't have anything going on in my life that would make me feel that way. I just remember feeling like it was winter inside my body. And then when I did start to feel normal again, I would sort of reduce the number of extracurriculars I was involved with, which I think probably was a good idea because the rest of my high school experience, I was sort of just like floating in and out of these really like deep depressions.
Wow. Winter inside of your body. That is such a vivid and painful way to describe that crash, especially when you're juggling so much. I want to thank you for sharing that with me. It sounds like you had to learn to protect your energy early on. You also mentioned earlier that you're looking to manage anxiety alongside the depression. What does anxiety look like for you?
So I struggle with social anxiety and generalized anxiety. I sometimes get like these higher energy times when I feel like my anxiety is pushing me to do something to release my anxiety, if that makes any sense. And
Hmm.
it's like really hard to concentrate in those times.
Okay. It makes total sense that your mind and body would try to scramble for a solution when anxiety spikes. I'm curious about those high energy moments. When you are in the middle of a depressive episode, do you ever experience hyperactivity?
What do you mean by that?
Sometimes, even when someone is feeling deeply depressed physically, they might experience a type of inner hyperactive, like a profound, relentless agitation or a mind that's won't slow down. Does that kind of hyperactivity overlap with your depressive episodes?
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way, but sometimes when I feel super physically, I still can't just go to sleep because my thoughts are racing.
It can be so exhausting when your body is tired, but your mind won't let you rest. What kind of racing thoughts tend to show up in those moments?
It's like mostly the negative self-talk that I mentioned, just like not so.
Right, those harsh inner critics. You mentioned not being able to sleep when those thoughts are racing. What is your sleep like overall? Do you find you getting, I'm sorry, do you find getting to sleep or not enough?
So I definitely have trouble sleeping when the thoughts are racing, but otherwise, like I can easily sleep 12 hours a day. I feel like my body needs 10 hours a day just to function normally. But then there's also like some times when
Okay. So sleep can become a real battleground. Have you ever been prescribed antidepressants in the past to help them?
yeah, I tried antidepressant, a few different ones, but they didn't really work.
Sometimes finding, I'm sorry. Sometimes finding the right tool takes time. When you're taking the antidepressants, did you notice if they were making your depression worse or did they ever make you feel hypomanic?
What does hypomanic mean?
Hypomania can look like a sustained period of unusual elevated, high energy, or irritable mood, where your thoughts are moving incredibly fast. You might need less sleep, and you feel an intense urge to keep moving or doing things, almost like you're operating on a motor.
Wow. So I've kind of always felt that way, on and off. I can't say that I've medication making those feelings worse,
Okay.
but medication has definitely made me feel more depressed.
Okay. This is really important insight for us to know moving forward. Sometimes how we react to medications give us big clues about what's going on under the hood. Does anyone else in your family have a history of mood struggles? Mood disorders can often have a strong genetic component.
Yeah, actually, well, no one has ever been officially diagnosed. My mom and her sister always had spells.
It sounds like we're there's definitely a pattern of generational struggle there. Just to connect a couple of pieces you've given me, you know, you know, notice these spells the winter inside your body, starting back in high school. So it's safe to say you remember these cycles beginning well before the age of 25, right?
Yeah, that's right. The first time I remember feeling deeply depressed, I was around 16.